So I rewatched Thunderbolts last night. I was on a plane home from New York, um, and I hadn't seen the movie since it come out, and I had just remembered how much I liked it when it came out. Um, I still think it's really good. I don't want that to change at all. But what I didn't realize on this rewatch um, is how much I'd find a character that I really relate to. Um, Especially right now in my life, um, I don't know, I'm just kind of in new phases in my life. I'm alone a lot more than I used to be. And um, just dealing with a lot of mental health stuff that I'm kind of working through. And, I thought Thunderbolts, probably like most people did, I thought it was going to stink, but I was willing to see it out because I do love Marvel and I want them to succeed, even though I have really had issues with their movies in the last few years. Um, and I figured Thunderbolts would be good. I just kind of had a feeling, but I really didn't expect to have that character that I related to so much, and that one being um, Bob. I didn't expect that at all. Um, I mean, I like him. I liked the idea of him. I think the Sentry is a pretty cool character. Going back to the comics, I think it's a little hard to write, an omnipotent character. Um, but I just thought it was really, I don't know, it just felt really nice for me to be able to see a character that struggles with a lot of the same stuff that I struggle with, and um, I don't know, I've been really going through a lot lately. My mental health has not been the best, um, and I just didn't realize, um, oh my god, you're kidding me. Um, I just didn't realize how much better it feels to know that somebody's out there that feels the way I do. Because I relate to Bob a lot. Um, a lot of the discussions about the void and um, just having good days and things like that, I feel that very, very deeply. I struggle with um, high functioning depression pretty often, or pretty much. I don't have like crippling depression. I'm fine, but I am just unable to feel happy, I guess, most of the time. And it really was just healing for me to hear him talk about how he's got these good days and he has a lot of bad days. And it's just hard to explain to somebody that doesn't get it. Um, that I just can't be happy some days, you know? I, uh, I can even acknowledge that I should be happy, that I should be having a good day, but for whatever reason, I just can't. And it's one of the most struggling. It's one of the things I struggle with the most, truly, is I just. Not that I feel shame about it, but I can acknowledge I should be happy, and I'm not. And I can't explain that to people, because I'm not great with words. And I just find a lot of solace in movies, especially um, movies that are sad. I mean, I'm just a big fan of watching sad stuff because it feels good to me. It feels cathartic to be able to watch stuff like that. Um, but, anyways, all that to say, I really just struggle um, lately with this depression. Um, it's not new. It's not like I didn't I'm new to dealing with this. I've been this way my whole life, but it's been interesting lately. Kind of the change in my life. I've um, recently moved to a new state across the country from my home, um, and it's been a lot, just emotionally. I have a lot going on, um, and so it's just been lonely these last few months. I still talk to all my friends. It's not like I don't talk to them, but when I need to talk to someone, I don't always have somebody to talk to. And that's just uniquely sad, I guess. Um, I don't know. And I don't know why it's hitting so hard all of a sudden, because I've been like this a lot of my life. In high school, I mean, I would go a week without talking to anybody other than my family. Um, but just for some reason lately, I have been dealing with it a little extra, and so rewatching it last night really, I don't know, gave some kind of new blessing to my life, that I am able to feel not alone, and that I'm able to feel um, like we're in this together, you know? Um, I don't know, it's just been a weird change in my life, and I'm just trying to do the best I can. Um, I don't know. What they don't really tell you about your 20s, really early 20s, is you have no idea. I mean, they tell you, but they don't really. I didn't know I was going to spend all of my 20s so confused and so just feeling like I was always making the wrong decision no matter what I choose. I am starting to learn as I'm getting older, there's not really wrong decisions in general. If you're a good person, there's no wrong decisions, there's just better and worse decisions. But I don't know, I just did not expect for life to feel like I was making the wrong decision all the time. I don't know if anybody feels the same way about that. Um, I don't know. In high school, I always did really well academically, and so I always kind of felt not good about myself because of that, but I knew things were going to be fine because I was doing well. It didn't matter if I was upset with some of my grades or stuff, because I always just kind of knew I was smart, I'll figure it out, and it's going to be fine. And then I started working corporate jobs that are different. They're just so different than school. And I'm really struggling with just how mundane life is. I guess I was never the kind of person that was like, oh, I'm gonna be the next Elon Musk. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not worried about, I want to be great, sure, but my most important goal in life is just to be a good man, and the rest will figure itself out. Um, and I just have really struggled lately with getting into the workforce and kind of growing up and realizing so much of what I've done most of my life does not matter. And it's just a lot to deal with, and then tackle that on top of, all these new responsibilities that I have. Is it a mine on a lamppost? Hold on. It is. Huh. I can't even shoot it. Anyways. Back back to where I was going. I don't even know. It's hard to put into words how I really feel. Um, but the portrayal of Bob in Thunderbolts, and really Yelena, I mean, it was such a good movie because it was so different from the quote-unquote Marvel formula. And a lot of that was because most of the conflict was internal. I mean, you've got all of the Valentina conflict, which is external, but so much of the other conflict within the movie is internal conflict. It's Yelena versus herself, Bob versus herself, or Bob versus himself, and it's really that way with all of the characters. And I just think it's really refreshing to get that new take on it for sure. But it just felt great to see a character I can relate to, or a superhero I can relate to, I mean, because there's been not a lot of that lately. I don't know how to explain it, but um, the superhero movies as of late, I mean, this is just my opinion, but a lot of them have been more focused on marketability than relatability, so they're trying to be something for everybody, and I just don't relate to them. I'm not I'm not everybody, and I have special interests that make me. I mean, originally it was why I loved, the comics so much. I loved Spider-Man, I loved Superman, um, and those were really two of my favorite superheroes because I relate to them a lot. I'm from, Superman's from Kansas, I'm from Missouri, and so I kind of understand those grassroots in a way that a lot of people don't. And I just really needed somebody to relate to. I really struggle with, like, I don't even know how to explain it. I can see the best course of action for most things, and I can see hope externally, but when it comes to my own life and my own decisions, I overanalyze, I compartmentalize, and I am generally unable to feel hope. And so, I've really had a great year uh, mentally, and a lot of that is thanks to, I mean, it's probably embarrassing to admit, but a lot of movies that I've watched this year have really allowed me to get some sort of release from this kind of weight that I put myself through. I don't know why I do it. I really don't. I acknowledge externally that I can not take life so seriously. I'm 24. I have no reason to be taking life as seriously as I do. Um, but then it happens to me. And then all of a sudden, I just can't accept that it's okay. And I don't know why that is. I, um, I don't know what it is. I don't know how to properly define it. Um, but I mean, I've had a great year with. Anyways, back to the movies. Superman as well was one of the ones that really meant the world to me. I've never really been a huge fan of the Snyderverse. I liked the movies. I thought they were good movies. But it's just not Superman. Superman is not the characterization that Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder gave is just not Superman at all. It's not a bad take on a superhero movie, especially a modern superhero. Um, but it's just not who Superman is. I mean, there are other characters they can use, and they can also use their own characters for this kind of content. Um, and it's not entirely their fault. I mean, this was in the middle of the Injustice and New 52. This is all kinds of recontextualizing Superman going on at this time. And they're good movies. I mean, yeah, some of them are good movies. I won't say they're all good. Man of Steel is good. We'll start there, and we can debate others. Um, but what I loved about James Gunn's movie um, is it reminded us all who Superman is supposed to be, not who, who we think he would be in, modern times with a modern recontextualization. That was never Superman. Superman was always the unrelenting guy, and that was really his superpowers. He had hope that did not cease. There was never any chance that he would stop being Superman because he had this hope. And I really needed that as a kid. I needed I don't know, the role model that he was to me. Um, I needed really just the overwhelming optimism that everything's going to be okay, not because it's going to be okay, but because I'm strong enough to work it out. And that has kind of carried into my life, for better or for worse, even now. But what I just really find amazing with this movie is that you can feel the passion that James Gunn has, not only for the character, but for the story, because it is a self-insert of him. I mean, just knowing James Gunn's story with Marvel, you can very easily see, not that he is Superman, but he, um, he created the struggles of Superman with his own struggles in mind, with Disney. He acknowledged that, the kind of story of his life. He was not Superman, but James Gunn was Marvel's Wonder Kid for a long time, for really since 2014 when Guardians came out. He was do no wrong as a guy, according to Marvel. And then these tweets surface, which I'm not here to say are a good thing because they're pretty scuffed jokes, but they were 10 years old. And the internet's had this debate, so you don't need to hear it from me. But I think if you recontextualize Superman as, kind of a lessons that James Gunn learned through his last few years, I think you can see that he feels this character and relates to this character in a way that I often do. I mean, I don't have his experience. I've never been canceled or anything like that. But I have had external factors recontextualize my life and make me really question why I'm even here. And it was so refreshing. I mean, partly for me it was because I'm from Missouri, and the way the Kents act in that movie is it felt like home. It felt like my family. It felt like my parents and my grandparents. Which is just great for me because I don't see that often when you're from, the boonies, and people just see you as a hick, regardless of if it's true or not. You don't see a lot of those characters that are nice, I guess. Um, a lot of them are making fun of your kind of family and your people, which is fine. It's funny. I'm not here to say we shouldn't do that anymore. Um, but it was really nice to see it done not just faithfully, but with genuine intent. That the Clarks are, they're farmers from Kansas. They're not the quote unquote saviors of the world, but they care and they love their son. And oh, I typed it wrong. Dadgummit. I just think it was, I thought it was nice to be able to enjoy somebody that I feel like I know. Because I do know people that are exactly like the Kents. I do. Um, and it was refreshing to see that. Um, but anyways, it's it was refreshing to see, and I don't know. I'm trying to think of how I even want to talk about it, but I just think James Gunn is such a talented director because I guess writer, I mean directing as well, but he just understands intuitively the heart of the audience that put him there, I guess. If you know him, he was a huge comic fan, and I think he gets that um, to come across well because he makes these comic book movies that I think everybody that grew up reading comics relates to in ways they didn't even know they could. Um, because we all, we love comics for different reasons, but a lot of us read comics. We weren't very cool kids in school. We, I'm not saying we all got bullied, but a lot of us did not have a lot of friends, and a lot of us needed these characters in our lives as kids because they kept us on the right path. I don't know if that makes sense. It might not if you weren't somebody like me in school, but it's just hard to explain to people that weren't there, if that makes sense. Um, I think he just gets the heart of people that grew up reading comics better than really anybody at Marvel. I mean, the Marvel movies are good, don't get me wrong. Um, and there's a lot of good things to like about them, but what I love most about his content is it's made for a specific audience, and it just happens that the rest of the audience gets to be kind of on this journey with us and kind of experiencing this um, cathartic experience, really, with movies. I mean, he did the same thing with Guardians 3. I had to think of the name. Again, he kind of self-inserted him as Rocket, and once you see it, it's hard not to feel some kind of connection to him um, as a director, but also just as a person. Um, anyways, all that to come back to Thunderbolts. I really like it. I um, I thought it was the most Marvel. I think it was the most MCU-like movie since really Phase 2 or 3. I mean, it's just hard to put into words. It kind of got away from that Marvel formula of first act, second act, big bad, and it's over. Um, and it was just great to get away from that formula. It's just been I mean, it's working, so I get why they do it. But it was so amazing just to be able to get away from that and say, this is a movie about something for someone. Um, and that movie usually doesn't sell as well. But in the annals of history, I think people will look more favorably on this movie than a lot of the other movies because they are not so time dependent. This movie is about something, and that usually means it will stand the test of time. And I think it was so amazing to see, the final big bad, the Void, was defeated not by some big fight and a quippy line at the end that saves the day, um, but by a family and by a friend that was willing to sacrifice everything to come bring him back from the edge. And that was what saved the day. And our lives, that's what saves the day too. I mean, I can imagine so many times where I thought I was about to go insane, go off the deep end, and all I needed was a hug from somebody that loved me and told me that it was going to be okay, and that was all that I needed. I mean, that is such a special experience in life. Um, and it was just so nice to see in a movie, especially a Marvel movie where this kind of stuff is just not happening lately. I mean, it's just all slop, and it was so good to see something different. Um, so yeah, it's been a great year for superhero movies. Um, Hopefully, it continues to grow, and hopefully, I continue to relate to characters, and hopefully, I continue to be able to define how I feel more effectively. See ya.